Hi everybody!
Hello.
We were about to film the birth story video for our twins, and then I realized we probably should introduce you to them before we start talking about them. So we'll do a whole video about both of them later. But for now, this is Eden. Hi Eden!
And this is Everly.
We call her Ever for short. Let's zoom in, zoom in. Hello, can you tell them apart? Eden. Alright, now that you guys know who they are, we'll fill you in on how they got here. If you are new to our channel, my name's Cherie, this is
Micah.
And we call ourselves the Mushies. It's a shortened version of our last name. We have a 2.5-year-old named Alina, and we have identical twin girls. And so today we're going to be talking about our twins' birth story, which is quite, I don't even know the word to describe it.
Quite the adventure.
So stay tuned for this. So we're gonna break it up into a couple different parts because there's a lot that went on. So this is part 1, and it's basically all about the induction day. So when I went into labor with the twins and how that all went down. For a few, from way before, early in my pregnancy, I got a lot more Braxton Hicks with the girls than I did with our first daughter. And just as the pregnancy went on, they were more than Braxton Hicks. And so eventually, you know, getting into the 3rd trimester, the doctors, when we would go in, would tell us like, okay, this is more than Braxton Hicks. Like, it's definitely lasting longer and they're real contractions now, but you're not dilating. So they're considered real contractions, but you're not going into labor. I don't know what that means. On
the little monitor, the bumps or whatever, like that says how strong your contractions are, were pretty large.
Yeah, so I'd go in every week. So with twins, they make you go in more often to do like non-stress tests and ultrasounds and whatnot in the 3rd trimester. And so when they would measure me every week, the stress test, like the belts that they strap on you, would almost make me go have all these contractions, because I think the tightness around my belly would trigger it or something. So they kept sending me down to labor and delivery like 3 times, I think. I went down there.
Because I guess their guideline is if you have more than 6 contractions in an hour, they want you to come in because you're supposedly going into labor. But
it even got to the point where they kept me overnight one time.
We went to labor and delivery, and then the on-call doctor there admitted us because of the contractions. And we kind of asked her like, oh, so what do you think is gonna happen?
Yeah.
And then the doctor was like, you're gonna have the babies.
Yeah, like she was like, it's happening.
So we were like, what? Not ready at all.
Yeah.
But so we just went into the hospital, and then they just put the straps on her, monitored her, and nothing happened.
Yeah, they discharged us in the morning.
The next day.
So yeah, lots of false alarms.
With our situation, you were having more than 6 contractions in an hour almost all the time. Like
they would discharge me and be like, okay, so just make sure you come back if you're having more than 6 in an hour. I'm like, well, I'm having more than 6 in an hour right now. Shouldn't I stay here? Like,
and then they were like, they didn't really have an answer.
Know what to tell me.
So they were like, what'd they say? They were like, if it gets worse or more painful, come back.
They were like, okay, we need to change what we're telling you. It's like, if something feels different, then come back in. I was like, all right. So I was basically just having contractions all the time for the last several weeks at least. But we made it to 37 weeks, which was very exciting. That was our goal. According to our doctor, with fraternal twins, they'll deliver them at 38 weeks for safety. So I was worried about all the things that could go wrong because they're identical twins. It's a little riskier. They only have the 1 placenta And so they wanted the identical twins to be delivered no later than 37 weeks. So we went in the day before 37 weeks and the doctor was like, well, if you wanted to wait a couple more days, you could. But like, typically we would induce it now. It was just like, okay, you're good. When do you want to schedule it? Sometime this week. And we were like, do we say tomorrow? No. Yeah, we're like, no. You said 37 weeks. My skin is ripping. We're gonna do it. Also, yeah, just one of the babies was a little bigger than the other and I just was worried about them. And so we were monitoring that because they could at any point get twin-to-twin transfusion syndrome, where like one of them's taking all the nutrients and the other is not and is getting most of the waste because they shared the placenta. So that was always a concern. And then I had this weird thing called a placental chorioangioma. I think that's what it was. I haven't said that word in like a year. So it was basically like a benign tumor in my placenta that if it started growing, that would be a serious thing. And
because it would take blood and nutrients away from both babies.
So yeah, there was like 2 different ways that my babies could get nutrients stolen from them, and then it would be a bad situation. So once I knew that their lungs were probably okay, I was like, okay, I feel good about this. So we got induced. So they put me on Pitocin when I got admitted. They admitted us around 5 o'clock.
They're very nonchalant about getting things going. So we went in at 5 on time, and I don't think they started giving you the Pitocin till like 8 or 9 p.m.
Yeah, I was excited. Like, I'm here, I'm ready. I just had dinner. Like, let's get it going because I'm gonna get starving hungry. We
were sitting in the room just kind of watching movies, talking, just waiting. I
remember with Alina, once I had gotten the epidural and once it started working with my first daughter, the epidural didn't work for like 14 hours. But that was a really nice time. I felt like we got to like hang out and like talk and like really just bond. And so I was looking forward to that this time as well, also because we have a toddler. So I was thinking, oh, it's just alone time with you and this will be nice. And then just thinking, okay, so when you have twins, they need to put one monitor on your belly for the contractions. Then they need one monitor on one baby and then another monitor on the other baby. So you have 3 in different places on your belly and you can't sleep on your back. So you want to sleep on your side, but oh, there's a monitor there. And if you lay on your side, it moves. And then they come in and they have to move you and start the whole thing over. And then you try to lay on the other side. And
when the monitor doesn't have the baby's heartbeat, a loud alarm goes off. Yeah.
So no sleep or comfort was going on during this induction period for me. Did you sleep?
Yes.
Micah can sleep anywhere. Micah slept on the worst turbulence of my life when I thought we were gonna die. He's like, I can't do it, I'm going to sleep. I don't even know. Anyways.
So even before we came in for the induction, every time they admitted you, which was like 3 or 4 times, right? 3 or 4 times in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
They would just pump 2 liters of fluid, at least, right? Just to like hydrate you. But you're walking in with like elephant feet.
Yeah, looking back, I just thought it was from pregnancy. I was like, wait a minute.
No, it was from all the fluid that they were giving you.
It's shocking when I look at myself just how big I got.
The edema that you had in your ankles, like you could push down and it would just sink and stay.
Yeah.
It was really bad.
So looking back, yeah, they were pumping me full of fluid for a long time. So I was humongous. They started me on the antibiotics for group B strep and then started Pitocin at like a 2. And then overnight we got up to like a 14, 15. But the babies didn't handle it so well, so they dropped it back down. When they first checked me, I was like a 2.5, and they could stretch me to a 3 for centimeters dilation. And then this morning, I think I was like a 3.5. So the doctor said she was happy with that progress, and I was like, what? That sounds like so little. Well, eventually, my water did break.
Yep, on its own.
For one of them. And just for the one, I guess a lot of fluid was coming out. A lot came out with Alina. I don't know, but the nurse's commentary on the breaking of this water, like, let's keep it together, ladies. So they had 2 nurses, and when my water broke, I was like, oh, I think my water just broke. And they're like, okay, we'll check and see, I don't know. And then they went and they were like, oh yes, your water definitely is breaking. Oh my, look at how much, and they're like talking to each other, like, look at this, oh my gosh, look at, this is the most water I've ever seen. Yeah? It was like a spectacle. Like, okay, way to make me feel like a science experiment. They like couldn't believe it. I don't know if they've never seen this before. So this whole time, I wasn't really feeling the contractions. Like they were happening, they were giving me more Pitocin, but I wasn't feeling much. But they offered me the epidural because they explained it to me something like, if things go into emergency mode and you don't already have your epidural line in, they're gonna knock you out. Because they just need to get the babies out, that's the priority. And so, but if you already have your epidural line in, they would you'll hopefully be able to be awake when the twins are born. So I was like, okay. So I got the epidural put in before I was even in a lot of pain, I think. Yeah,
you were normal.
Yeah. Just at some point the doctor's like, we think we should put it in now. I was like, okay, sure. So I don't even remember getting the epidural.
I remember because you were in pain when the person did it. Because, so it's a, yes. We didn't even really know, but it was a resident that was like doing it. Mm-hmm. And I don't know
all for teaching. I just felt like, let's not experiment on the one with twins that's been through a lot. But, okay, sorry, continue.
I don't know how many times this person has done an epidural or whatever, but he did not seem very confident at all.
Yeah. He was like making me nervous.
Yeah.
Like asking questions.
It was like,
shouldn't you know?
Yeah. Not confident questions like, do you know what you're doing?
I do remember. Oh my gosh, I must have blocked this out. Because he had the person teaching him.
Yep.
And he was like, okay, now if you feel, the guy teaching was like, okay, and then if you feel this, just pull it out, relax, don't panic. I was like, don't panic? I don't want someone who might panic.
See, the thing is, before the resident did it, the doctor like kind of convinced us or whatever, like, oh yeah, this guy's really good, he knows what he's doing. Obviously not.
No, negative. So I was like crying.
Yeah,
it was bad. It took a long time. I understand, like, students have to learn somehow, but I felt like at multiple points I was like, we gotta cut this guy off. Like, this is too much. This has been going on for far too long. Like, it was like a ridiculous amount of time that I was being poked around with.
It was long.
Like, the teacher should have just been like, okay, you've been through enough, let me just get that in there for you.
And I was also scared too because I've heard of stories. Even like a normal epidural.
Wait, time out. What? I love you. Hold on, time out. This explains so much as to what happened.
What?
As to what happened with my, like, back when I delivered them.
Oh, maybe. I guess, hold on.
Stinking guy.
Let me finish. So, I've also heard other stories of other people, even though the epidural was like perfectly fine, the doctor did it quick, easy, it was painless. People have had like chronic migraines or headaches after that like don't go away.
But again, because they recommended we get the epidural or whatever, I was like, yeah. I mean, our hope was that we could deliver them vaginally. They were both head down and like ready to go. And so the doctor said there was no reason to think that we wouldn't be able to do that. So that was what we were preparing for. Once I got to 10 centimeters, they asked if I wanted to start pushing, or like, they kind of asked me how I felt. And I remember learning about laboring down when we delivered Alina, where even though you're 10 centimeters, if the baby's still pretty high up, they explained it to me as like, you can start pushing now, but you'll probably be pushing for like 3 hours, or you can labor down and just keep resting, and hopefully the baby will, you know, start making its way down on its own, and then you can push when you're a bit closer. And I was like, yeah, that one. That sounds good to me. So they didn't ask me that this time. I was like, can I labor down? They're like, okay, sure, whatever.
Oh, I got really, really itchy like an hour or two after the epidural. Like my whole stomach, my back, my legs, so itchy. So I took half a Benadryl because I didn't want to be too knocked out. Sorry it's shaking, I'm shaking. I took half a Benadryl and took a little nap. And then my shoulder was sore, so I wanted to roll over. And when I was rolling to my other side, sorry, when I was rolling to my other side, when I was on my back, I thought I was gonna throw up, and the pain got really strong.
So then after a little while longer, they said it was time to go to the OR. In case you didn't know, and you're having twins, most likely they will deliver you in the operating room in case of an emergency, right, even though they plan to do it vaginally.
Our hospital, I guess, makes it mandatory for any multiples to be delivered in the OR.
Yeah.
If they need to cut you open like that, everything's ready to go.
I knew that this was going to be a very like sterile environment, and with our birth with Alina, it was just like, I loved the midwife. Okay, rewind. So I'm not a like basher of people that need to learn. The midwife that delivered Alina was in training, and at first I was like, oh, that makes me nervous, but she was amazing. And I fully trusted her. I trusted the process. I liked her better than the teacher. I wanted her to deliver all my children. She was the best. Wasn't she the best?
Yeah, she was very good.
She's exactly what I wanted. Very calm, but like confident. Anyways, that birth experience was lovely. I pushed for about an hour. Everything, yeah, it was beautiful. I knew going into the twins delivery that it would be in an OR, and I tried to prepare myself mentally for the bright lights and the lots of people and people talking around you and not to you. And I thought I was doing a pretty good job, but it was kind of freaky. So they like rolled you in there, and they make Micah stay outside until they get you set up.
Until they get you set up. I put my stuff on and I was sitting for a while. For like 10 or 15 minutes, I didn't even know what was going on. And then as soon as I come in, things are happening already.
Yeah,
so it's kind of weird.
Do that
like
well.
I thought I was gonna be able to like stand there for a little and be like,
yes,
oh, good, let's go.
Yeah. In other people's videos that I saw or whatever, like yes, the husband waits outside, but then they bring him in. They're like, okay, guys, ready? And he's like, you're gonna be okay. And I didn't get any of that.
No, it's just like walked in.
Things were going. And I was like, where is Micah? And then he came in, but he was dressed up, and then they kept him away from me. So I was like, is that Micah? I'm like blind. I couldn't see him.
It was a little weird because I didn't know where I could stand, where I could and could not go.
There was not a lot of direction.
No, I was just like,
it's not
so
a good
I didn't know
experience.
if I could stand next to her or if I had to stand on the side or I don't know. So I was kind of just like standing around.
Yeah. So it was scarier than I thought, because I remember thinking like, okay, it's been a while. Where is Micah? Like, and then I knew people would be talking around me, but it was like, they were talking about the weekend, they're like gossiping about somebody, they're like yelling things across the room, what, da, 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 like just random, and nobody said hi to me. I thought at least they'd be like, hey mama, like come here, like at least address me first. Nobody talked to me. It was the weirdest thing. I'm just laying there like, okay. But yeah. So, I mean, I get it. It's a serious situation. Delivering twins doesn't happen as often. Like, I don't know. But saying hi to the patient would be nice. But yeah. And then things went awry. Stay tuned for part 2, because it's gonna get crazy. making your debut. We're making your debut. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh my. We are excited.